All right, hello everybody. We are live and welcome to DC Fine Art. So today we're going to be working with the Faber-Castell Pitt Artist Pins, and this is I'm going to kind of go a little bit slower and see if we can kind of get to understand the Pitt Artist Pins a little bit better. And especially for beginners, because I know there's a lot of blending that you can do with these Pitt Artist Pins. And so I just want to show that. So I'm not really too interested in making, I really am. I want to make a very good art design, but I'm more focused on trying to teach the blending and what you can kind of do with the Pitt Artist Pins. Especially for beginners. So that's what we're going to be doing in this live stream, and we're going to be working on a seashell. So it looks like my audio is good. Looks like everything's going good on there. So that's thumbs up. Hope everybody's staying safe out there. We've had some really bad weather, especially thunderstorms and all that stuff going through. A lot of high winds. I know we're getting it here. Lot of high winds. And so I'm really keeping fingers crossed that we don't have no power outages, no internet being lost because they stuck the little internet satellite dish like on top of a water tower. So it's like, yeah, it's a great place. It'd probably get knocked down by the wind or lightning bolt or something. But oh well, we need to think positive thoughts. So let's go ahead, and I've got my Pitt Artist Pins here, and let's turn this around so we can kind of get started and go from there. Also, if you guys have not seen, below in the description, I went ahead and made a tracing of the seashell just in case if you guys want to see kind of like a tracing that I'll be working off of, that you'll have that. Now, it is going to be over on my Patreon. The link is in the description underneath this where the seashell is. Also, you just have to be a member to get that, and it's free to be a member. You do not have to pay the monthly, Patreon thing. You can just click free, and you can just go there and snatch that real quick. So if you're needing that tracing, it's there for you. The reference photo is from Pixabay, and it is also in the description below if you guys want to have that for a reference. So I think we're good. We can go ahead and turn this around. And I see that BNW2 Color said, can't wait for the live stream. So excited that you're here. I know it's going to be definitely fun. We're just going to have some fun and play around with these Pitt Artist Pins. So let's go ahead and turn this around. I need to find my little button here. So right now, as you can see, it's kind of like glossy, and that's just because I cover it with glassine. And I do this because there is a habit of, like, if I leave my door open, my cat will come in, and or at least my son's cat, it's on the family cat, she'll come in and she'll put her paws all over everything. I still have kitten paws all over one of my soft pastel pieces. Luckily, it was one that we did, it was a flamingo, and it was like a long time ago, and I just kind of left it because I was like, you know what, there's something that needs to be done to it. Like, I felt like it was never done. Even though I said it was done, it just didn't feel done. So I never did finish it. I just kind of left it, and I didn't have it covered, and she put her little cat paws all over it. And so, yeah, that's just going to give me more motivation to work on it is what it's going to do. Let's go ahead and put this lesson somewhere. I've got a mess going on. I have been listing a bunch of my paintings up, and yeah, got everything everywhere. So the paper that I'm going to be working on is the Bristol Smooth. As you can see, here is my trace out, or my tracing on a piece of tracing paper. You put your carbon paper underneath and go ahead and trace this onto your paper. Now, I don't push very hard. This tracing paper that I got, it's a new one that I've never, well, it's at least new to me. I never got the, and I think I ran into Hobby Lobby and grabbed Masterson's Touch tracing paper, and it is like super thick. And I thought, oh my God, I don't know if I'm going to like this much. I mean, it's really thick. I gave it a shot. yeah, you can see through it really good for what I'm doing, but also it kind of helps you out a little bit if you have a tendency to push a little bit harder, that it doesn't actually, it can actually make it to where you're not pushing down too hard to get a lighter line. So as you can see, it's really hard to see my transfer, but it is on there. I do have the seashell. You can kind of see in the shadow. Let's shadow it, but yeah, it's right there. Okay. Now, the paper that I'm working on is the Strathmore Bristol Smooth paper. Now, I do like working on this paper. It is just one of my favorite papers to work on when I'm working with the Pitt artist pens. There is a couple more types of paper that I do like, and I'm not for sure if I have them in here. I actually may have them in the back, but I like this because it doesn't usually bleed through, and when you use these inks, you don't like to have your artwork bleed through. So the Bristol Smooth is usually a pretty good one, so that's the one I chose. Now I cut this down to an 8 by 10, and I did that. I saved the scrap pieces like that went on the sides and the top. And the reason why you keep these is so that way you can make a color chart. At least that's what I like to do for some of the colors that you like to use. That way, if you're looking at it, sometimes the color may differ just a little bit than what's on the barrel of the Pitt artist pen. But by doing this and putting it down, you can see a little bit better what that color is going to look like. Also, I like to keep the other sheet right here. I don't know why my camera's like blurring out. I like to keep another sheet of this paper, and I'll show you why. If you go to blend, and let's just say you're using your white. So here is the white, and it may actually be stained a little bit. So I use this maybe on a red and to kind of blend it out a little bit or make it a little bit lighter red, a shade down. And I'll come over here and I'll just do this. Yeah, I did use it on a red. So as you can see, it's kind of a pink color. And that's just because some of the red got on the tip of this white here. So I'll just go like this and just kind of clean it up until it goes back to white, which it goes back to white, and now it's clean. So I do have a habit of cleaning my markers or my pens. So I keep one of those around. If you need to erase any of the pencil, if you got it too dark, you may need to erase that, only because we are working with a really light seashell. It's almost white, and in some areas it's really light, and you don't want that pencil to show through. So if you got it really dark in these areas where it's going to be a little bit lighter, you may have to erase it, and that's all you really need to do. Excuse me. Okay, so first things first, let's go ahead and choose our colors. And so, as you can see, we got some peach tones in there. We got some darker tones, maybe some browns in there. I see more, there's a little bit of a bluish kind of color, a little bit of green in the center of the seashell. So just start picking out your colors that you see that are the most similar. Here's a pale pink, and I do see a little bit of that in that little region there. Let me take away this. I don't need magenta. I don't think I need magenta. Okay, definitely want to keep... I didn't turn off my airbrush. That thing made a noise that scared me. All right, so we're going to go ahead and take the pale pink, the white, definitely always white. I know there some people used to not know, you know, they tried the white and they were wondering what to do with it because they really didn't know for sure if it was even kind of like worth it or not. And that white is very important. It is a very important pencil or pen. I would definitely keep an extra one if I had to, or if I could. I haven't ordered any kind of pens lately. Here's a cinnamon, so that's a really nice color. terracotta. That may be way too bright. I'd like the peach tones. Let's look at this one. Ooh, beige red. That looks really nice. So we'll keep with that one. It almost looks like we kind of got something going on here. We got the darker, the mid-tone, and a lighter tone. See? And we'll just see how that turns out when we put them down on paper. Hopefully it goes the same way that I'm thinking. And then in the center, we got some shades in there, some dark shades. So like some browns. And we do have browns in the Pitt Artist pins. Well, let me see what kind we got. I'm just going to pull them all out because sometimes I may not know exactly which brown I want. We got Caput Mortem. We got Dark Sepia. Nougat. I don't know if it was nougat or nugget. I don't know. I think it's nougat, but I don't know. I'd rather call it nugget. It's funnier. Okay, walnut brown, and we've got raw umber. So I'm just going to take all these browns because I'm not for sure which one to use. So if you're like that, just go ahead and take out your browns, make a color chart out of them, and that way you can kind of choose which brown you actually want. What is on this? Why is it white? Like, it's making me scared. What is that? Either it got paint on it? Is it bleached? No, it came off whole. Who knows? Probably got paint. I think I got paint on it. I know. Sometimes whenever I work with stuff, I splatter things and then I wonder, I go back and see it and like, what is that? Identify it. Like, what could it possibly be? Sometimes I don't know. All right. Now, this is another one that is truly my favorite. Now, I did have to get me another one of these because this is a really good one to use even for a blender. If you don't have white, this one here is another good blender, and it is ivory. So ivory is a good one, good enough to where I have another one of these. So I actually have a backup for this. Believe it or not, I actually got in stock one extra of those. Wish I had more, but this is more of a lilac. I don't think there's any purples in this. I don't see any, but we can always keep it to the side just in case we might want to throw it in there. I see some blues, or at least some nice teals kind of in there. That is zoomed in. That's what makes it nice whenever you have it on a computer. You can literally zoom in. So it's got some aqua kind of colors in there. I don't know how bright though. I really want it kind of a lighter color. Here it is. Oh my gosh, I can't even read this one. I think it's phthalo green. This one looks more like a blue. I don't think don't need this one, I don't think. This is light cobalt turquoise. I really want to stay with more of the ocean type of feel. I know this one does, but I don't think it's really, I don't think I want to go that blue. I think I might go with sky blue. I don't know, that might be too light. What is this one? That's that light cobalt turquoise. We'll keep it out. And then we need some darker ones. We can go with either a dark, I don't want to go with a black, but if we go with like a dark indigo, like here, dark indigo, this is a nice one to kind of use instead of using your black. So if you go to this, I would definitely go to this rather than black. But at the end, if you want to get it a little bit more darker in this area, like in some of the areas, then that's when you can add your black in. So I will go ahead and grab a black. That's cold gray. There's grays. Ooh. I like my grays because I use them for shading too. There is like a dark, like a blue. What is this? This one here is a green blue. I don't know. Nah. Maybe. I don't know. So many decisions. Trying to pick out colors here. I don't really want to make it too long of a video. I mean, I don't want to go over 2 hours. So, but this is supposed to be for teaching on beginners. It's ultramarine. I really need like a dark blue. I guess I could just... We can probably tone it down. Put phthalo blue. I don't even want that. Okay, so we'll use the dark indigo. And then we'll use a gray, a cold gray on top of it to tone it, to make it a little darker. Actually, let me see what color this is. That's still not a blue. I want blue. Okay, we'll use the cobalt blue. We'll tone it down with a gray because we got to learn to shade, you guys. You have to shade and blend. So if you don't have the right color, because I mean, you're not going to have a million colors of these, then you're going to learn to use, and I wouldn't use cold. I would probably use more warm. I don't know, you could use cold grays. No, let's use warm grays. But learn to blend your colors. You will definitely see me blending. I like my grays. So you will see me take out my grays. Any type of grays. What's this one? Warm gray. Any warm gray. We're going to use all, let's see here. That's cold. I'm just blind. These two, no. Warm, and warm. Okay, so I got 3 warm grays. Probably thinking, wow, this is way too many colors. Just pick them out. You could just get close. That's all you really need, is just get close to the colors. I love grabbing out colors though. Apricot. Love apricot. We'll stick it here because that pink may not work out for us. All right, and then the black. Yep, I think we're good. Okay, so we're going to take this sheet of paper. I have my colors, so we're going to go through and hopefully make this as quick as possible. So I'm going to write down, instead of saying like apricot, I'm just going to put down the color number on this, and we're just going to go through real quick. 116. I'll read them out, which ones I chose though. So here is apricot. 189. This one here is cinnamon. Beige red, 132. I also got this new tape too. And obviously it does not like to tape down very well. My paper just went right underneath of it. That's crazy. Okay. Getting distracted here. Pale pink, 114. Of course, we've got our white. We do not need to do that. We also don't need to write down our black because we know what black looks like and we know what white looks like. Here's lilac, 239. Okay. I mean, we know what ivory is going to be really close to where you're not going to be able to see it on this sheet of paper. Well, you might. Yeah, actually you will. It's like more of a yellowy kind of color. So just really light. Okay, the browns is the ones that I was puzzled about. So we'll just go ahead and write these down. This one here is raw umber, 180. That's nice. That's a nice color. That's really pretty. Okay, this one here is 177. And it is walnut brown. That's nice too. And see, what you could use these for is for any of the dark areas that's in the seashell, you can make and use browns in there. This is nougat or nugget, 178. I think it's nougat. Trying to get through this part. I don't want to lose anybody. Also, if you guys are on here, if you could click the like if you haven't clicked it already. Definitely helps the channel grow. I think, let's see here, dark sepia 175. So if you could do that, that would mean a whole bunch to me. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. We would love to have you on the channel, because guess what's coming up to, well, let's see here. Yeah, I should be able to get it done tomorrow. Guess what's coming up tomorrow? It is the Palatable Pack first review. So box, we get to open the box, see what's in the box tomorrow. Okay, 169. This is Caput Mortem. Got more of a reddish tone to it. Not for sure about that one. Okay, now let's go ahead and we'll do our grays. These are warm grays. I have 3 of them. So this is warm gray 1, probably 2 and 3. I'll just go light, medium, and red. So 270, light warm gray. It's a nice color. You can almost use that to blend too, which I have done. Especially for that lipstick one and cherry one. Warm gray number 3. So it skips number 2. Number 272. And I usually use these to layer on top of a color to kind of darken it or give it a shadow. And then we got warm gray number 4, I think 273, which will be much darker. Open. The cat is asleep and not going to be picking on pebbles. All right, now we've got dark indigo. I've got cobalt blue 143. I think that'll be perfect, actually. That was the perfect color to choose for that blue in the center, and then just make it a little darker. We've got phthalo green 161. Like these tropical colors, so pretty. And then light cobalt oh boy, light cobalt turquoise 154. You see how my lines just keep on getting bigger and bigger the further I go down. It's like, I don't know why I do it. There goes my elbow. I've been having problems with my elbow. This is horrible. Horrible, horrible pain. And it's like, I don't know what I've been doing. I haven't been leaning and it's like right there on the top. It's not even where I put your arm on a table for so long. It's not even that. It's like on the top. And if I bend it straight, it hurts. I don't know. I'm having weird issues with my arms. I had it last time too, and I could barely get my drink. And then it's been doing that ever since. So here we go. Let's go ahead, and we can always start out with either the lighter colors, or we could start out with the center and do some of these darker colors. But we can do, let's just go ahead and do the lighter part of the shell here. So of course you got this white that's in the center. And as it goes up, we've got this little swirl. Maybe if I turn my reference photo around, that probably would help. Let's do edit. I need to rotate my little seashell. There we go. That way it looks, my brain can comprehend it. Okay. So to do the white part of the shell, let me put this down here. Okay. So as you can see, you got this white coming through here. So most likely to get it that white, you're going to have to use some of the paper showing through. I mean, you've got a white piece of paper, use it, take advantage of that part. Now you will have this beige kind of color on either side. Looks almost like a little bit of that pale kind of color. we can look on here and we can kind of match that up the closest that we can. And from what I'm seeing on here being the closest, it's going to be this 270, which is our lightest of light gray. So we're going to take 270 and we're going to use that on the outside part of the shell here. Where, as you can see on this, see how it goes into a different color here? Now we're going to have to go into that other color, which the closest that I can see to that color, it is going to be either the 116 or you could even use the pale pink. This one may be a little bit too bright, but we can always tone that down by using our white. So let's just go ahead and do that. Let's start with our blending, because I know that if you're using these, you've got to get used to blending. So let's go ahead and do that. We could cheat or not really cheat, but we can go down here and choose the lighter color. Instead, let's work for it. Let's use 116. Let's use this apricot. Yep, we'll use apricot and we'll lighten it down with our white. Where did it go? There it went. Okay. Ouch, elbow. Okay. And then for our top here, we could probably use some of the apricot in that also, or we could end up using some of the pink in that. I'm going to throw in some of the pink on the top here, and then the warm grays. Now I do see a little bit of other colors in there. As you can see, those darker kind of colors in here. I wouldn't worry about that just yet. You could probably stick them in there and then cover it back up with a white to tone them down. But it looks more or less like either a bluish kind of color or a gray. You could probably use a gray and get away with it. But yeah, probably the gray would probably be better for that, like a darker gray. Let's not do that right now. Let's just go ahead and jump on over to the seashell first. If I can actually move my arm. Ooh, I'm getting broken. I'm breaking. Okay. I don't want to get confused. Let me put the pink away. We're using apricot and white toward this end. Now on this line here, I'm probably going to have to erase it because I know that's going to show up. I'm almost out of my eraser. I'm going to use an electric eraser for this. Now you can use another eraser if you don't have an electric eraser. That's fine. Use whatever eraser is good for you. I actually don't have my glove. That's really kind of bothering me. I'm just going to spot erase. I don't want it to completely disappear where I can't see what I'm working with. Be like, oh yeah, I just totally erased everything, but just erase as much as, like, just to where you can still see your line, see where that seashell goes. Where did it go? Okay. I'm gonna wear it. I'm gonna wear my eraser dust. It's okay. I'm gonna have to get my glove. If I don't get my glove, it's gonna bother me. It's right there. All I had to do was get my glove. I'm like, I don't want to set my hand down. Okay, where did it go? Where did it go? I don't want my apricot. Where'd my light? Oh, right here. I'm losing it, you guys. Losing all my stuff. And now what I'm going to do is just basically, if you zoom in on it, you can kind of see that it goes up like this. Okay. So just kind of making these little lines, just trying to get some color in there. Now, Let's take our white. And use it as a blender. That's what I like to do. Kind of soften out this edges here. Soften out any of these little lines here. I didn't get rid of that piece there. Sometimes it might have a little bit of a paper or something sticking from something else that you've done. Because sometimes I layer over the top of things with these and I'm like, okay. Tested it out of paper or did something. The paper didn't work out for me. Okay, so now we got this smooth, we got a smoother blending here. Okay. And I would just like put your white down and then just continue on. I think it's like right in here that it starts changing color. There is still a little bit of gray in here, so I'm going to come through and just kind of do like these little circles, maybe some little jaggedy edges in there too. I'm going to come through, add this in. Okay. I'm going to take my white. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to kind of blend this out, make it nice and smooth. You don't want to push down too hard just in case your paper will not take. Because when you work with it, paper that likes to crumble, you're going to have to let it dry, then go on top of it with another layer if it gets too wet. Because then you could end up having your paper start rolling up on you. This one here doesn't do too bad actually at all. The rolls that I get on this, I think, is just from, I don't think it's actually from the paper. If it is, then I can't tell anything that's happening to the paper. It's super nice. But you will get that on occasion. Okay. So now that I got that nicely smooth, blended just the way I want it, you can always let it dry if you want to and go over it again. But I'm going to go ahead and take this apricot and we are going to put like a little bit of apricot in here. Okay. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to go on top of it with my white and tone it down. Okay, that way it's not so bright. And I want it to kind of mix in just a little bit here with this gray. And there we go, it's toned down. Just gotta be careful, gotta let it dry just a little bit here. Not giving it a chance to dry can end up leading to your paper crumbling, so just be careful. All right, so now that I'm going to let that dry, I can go back over it again. Just let it dry first. So let's go ahead and go up to the top part of the shell in here, and let's start making a little bit of our design. Looks like they have a little bit of a shadow going on in there too. So if you want to make a shadow, I would probably go with your warm gray, but I would just go with, always go start out lighter and then go darker. I just now noticed I got a shadow. Okay, well, okay, we'll just make this and then take our lighter gray and go like that. Make sure this is cleaned off. I don't want to know. There. If you need to, you can just kind of scoochy that out just a little bit. Okay. That was the white that I did that with. So let's go ahead and add in some of our grays. This is the light gray again, or at least the warm gray. We're going to kind of add it in here. Just making some little lines in here, just close to what it looks like in the reference photo. It's not exact, but it's close. Okay, I'm going to take my, oh, I was going to use pale pink on top of this one. I want to, I can probably toss in some of the other color too. Some of that apricot really looked pretty. And okay. If you want to, you can toss in that medium gray for any little tones, maybe. Like those gray tones that's in there. It's kind of speckled in. At first I thought it looks more like a bluish kind of color, but we can use gray instead. We don't have to be exact, but just close is good. I mean, maybe we can stick a little bit of blue in there. Who knows? We'll see. Remember, it's all about blending with these. Let's see here. We can stick, I don't know. Let's try. This is really kind of dark to go with. This is my indigo. I want to just be very, very sparingly with this, but just go a little bit. Maybe put in some little dots in some of those areas that are just a little bit darker. Okay, and before it can completely dry, we can go over the top of it with our white. And that'll kind of blend out those dots and make it appear to be more of a bluish tone, but just a lighter blue. Blue-gray tone. It looks pretty good. I'm coming through and I'm just gonna kind of blend this out just a little bit. Okay. Let's go to the top here. And I'm blending this out with my white. And like I said, all it does is just kind of push it back that color and lighten it. It lightens it a little bit and also adds a little bit of a blending to it. You don't want to do too much because you will have to let it dry a little bit. Otherwise your paper will get wet and you'll start tearing into your paper. Okay, so we'll let that dry. So we got our blue tones in there. You let it dry and then you can end up going over it again. If you're wanting to put any more of the gray in, you can do that. Let's see here, where'd my gray go? Like maybe make it just a little bit more uneven. I like to add a little bit of character to mine. Let's take this white. And while it's still kind of damp, just go over it and soften it out and blend. Blend, 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 blend. Now, also with these Pitt Artist pens that make them really nice is if you're wanting something a little bit darker, all you have to do is wait until it dries, go over it again, or you can even go over it multiple times after it dries, and you can just make it a little bit darker if needing, if you need it a little darker. So you can actually make it a little light. You can also make it a little bit dark. All right, so now let's go ahead and jump on over to the part of the seashell while this is drying, and then we can come back over the top of it a little bit later. So, ooh, I just tore into my nail there. I don't know how I do that. So weird. Okay, let's not worry about nails. I'm gonna go ahead and erase this just a little bit, and we'll work on it. So now we got these, and we have more of a, I want to say you can either use the gray tone for it. We have been working with the gray, so we could end up doing that. Or you can use, yeah, we'll just go with the gray for now. So this right here goes up. And then just kind of go down. And then this here looks like it goes like that. And then I want to add a little bit of that pink, not really pink. Should I add the pink? Yeah, because it looks pretty close to the apricot anyway. Let's just go ahead and add a little bit of a pink tone to this gray. So I'm going to layer on top my pink. Okay. And we got some whites in there too, so I can just come through and just kind of blend this all together and soften it out. And it also fills in any gaps too. If you have any gaps that's in there, it will fill it in because it blends it. Okay. And now I'm wanting this to be a little bit darker. Let's see here. Do we have a color like that? Maybe we do, but I don't want to go too dark. This is still a lighter color. We may just use the apricot. I may have to let it dry. We're starting to get a little bit of a paper crumble there. So I'm just going to be careful. go on top of this with the white one more time. And this I'm gonna have to be very careful with. So it really got a lot of saturation there. Okay. We'll just wait until it dries and then we can easily go back on top of that. So I wouldn't do anything with it just yet. So let's go to the next one. Trying to see what I need to erase. We'll go ahead and erase this line the same way we did the other one. Let's go ahead and use a little bit darker color. This one here is the cinnamon. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this and draw like a little triangle in here. Because that's what it looks like in the reference photos, like a little triangle. Is Pebbles awake? I keep on thinking I'm hearing something back there. It's probably Pebbles. And for anybody who's new, who does not know who Pebbles is, she is a little winter white dwarf hamster. So now I like to start out lighter, and then if I need to, I can darken it. It was right through here. Trying to see exactly how this curves. Okay. Let me grab a hold of my white. And we're just going to kind of blend this out just a little bit to make a smoother transition right through there. And then we'll just use this white and try and pull it down. Pull that color down. Okay, I want this a little bit lighter, so I'm going to go on top of it with my white. Okay, and then I want to make this area a little bit darker, so we are going to use my 169. I think that is more of the reddish brown. It is the Caput Mortem. Hope I'm saying that right. Let's go ahead and bring that down. Okay, and then let's just take, and we're going to let this dry a little bit before we add another color. Like I said, you don't want to add too much when your paper is still wet trying to dry, because you might get it to peel up, and you don't want that to happen. So it's very important. And let's just say you don't have all the colors that you see in the picture. I wouldn't worry about it. Just fill in whatever you want. Like this looks more of a greenish kind of color, but it's okay because we don't have green. We'll just add this turquoise in there. Well, I mean, we probably do have green. It's just, I don't want to pull out any more colors. Once I pull out my colors, I'm like, yep, that's all I'm getting. Like, I don't want to have to pull out another so many colors. Not interested. If you're wanting it a little bit darker, like I said, just go over the top of it. again, and you'll be able to darken that color up a little bit. I want like a lighter brown. Let's see here, maybe like 189 right here. No, that's raw umber. No, that was the one I'm using, apricot. I'm wanting more of a, what is this, 180? We'll try 180. Be fine. I'm going to go over this green with my white here. Kind of soften that out a little bit. Add a little bit of my cinnamon to the center and make a little triangle. And this darker brown. I'm just kind of adding colors basically. And if you're thinking, oh my God, this is way too hard for beginners, don't feel that way. Just add in your colors. Just go for it. I want you to really work on blending, okay? Like, look at mine. It looks like kind of like a circus going on right now. I wouldn't worry about it right now. Just keep adding your colors to it. Keep looking at your reference photo. Look at where these colors are and just blend. I want you to learn to blend your colors. So you're kind of watching me and you're watching me blend. Just blend your colors also. Just keep doing it. You can do it. It's not about like trying to get the perfect thing. Just like that green, like it was just too greeny kind of color. I just threw apricot on top of it. It's like, really? Oh, come here, Lola. Lola's not supposed to be in here. Hold on one second. Let me say bye. Let me see an ear. Yep, that's Lola's ears. She is not supposed to be in here because she has a tendency to step all over my artwork, and I don't need kitty paws all over everything. So she cannot come in here. But she wants to. Believe me, she really wants to come in here. I'm going to clean this off because I did use it. This is the apricot. Cleaning it off because I did use it in the green. Almost forgot what I was saying. My goodness. Here's my light gray. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to outline this. So here's my light gray. And outline it. And then I'm going to take some of my pink and we'll just kind of throw it in there. Needed to be a little darker. Let's get the apricot. See? Things just don't look right. Don't worry about it. Just go in there and add some more color. I'm going to throw a little bit in there too. It turns out too dark, you can always soften it out with a lighter color. Or with a white or with the ivory, you can soften these out. So don't stress too much. Let me go ahead and clean off my white. We'll just see if this is dry enough. Okay. And so I go over it just to make it just a little bit more lighter. I'm going to go over the top of this blue one more time with the white, just to kind of lighten it a little bit more. We don't need it too dark. Okay, so that looks a whole lot better. We'll let the other stuff dry, so that way if we needed to go back in, we can, and we can easily darken it or lighten it. But since we're through with this, we go up to the next one, and then we do that layer. So same thing, we're just going to take our eraser. Oh, looks like Whiskey's going to come in here and check on me. Besides the kids, he's the only one big enough to push the door open. Oh, my contacts. Okay, so this one kind of looks the same way. We're going to take our, I think this is the apricot, and make like a little triangle in here. Okay. And then right through. See, I really need to make that darker. That's going to bug me. Let's go ahead and get that walnut, or put morning walnut. Let's get a walnut brown. Walnut brown, and then use the caput mortem to kind of branch it off. There we go. It's just kind of bothering me. Okay. All right, so this one here. Go like that. And we're just going to take it close to the edge. And come across that bump. So I went ahead and filled that in with the apricot. Now I'm going to take my white. And I may have jumped into it too soon. If you end up, if it doesn't come out to where it's lightening it up enough for you, just remember it's a layering. So when it dries, go back over it again. And it'll show up better. Yeah, little Pebbles is awake. She's back there. So it's just making sure. I was like, I think I hear her. Actually, that wasn't apricot that I was using. It was cinnamon. Sorry, cinnamon. Here's the apricot. You can use apricot or cinnamon, either one. I'm taking apricot right now and just taking it and running it up the side here. And then I'm going to take the cinnamon. See how I go back and forth? Cinnamon, apricot, cinnamon, apricot. Okay. And this area has to be darker. So if you needed it to be darker, I would probably take like, not that one, that's too dark. Maybe this brown here, this is raw umber. You can take it maybe and just kind of run it right along the side here. And then you can take your apricot if you want and just kind of blend. You can always use it to blend out needing. Just need a lighter color. Okay. Just remember to clean it off. Otherwise, you'll be surprised. Be like, oh my gosh, what did I do? What did I blend? Okay. All right, and so now we can go ahead and work on our other colors that we have in there. Looks like we still have that green kind of coming through there. So we got our dark shade. Let's go ahead and throw in this green. That way it kind of matches the other side. And then we got some other types of browns in there. Probably would have helped if I took that green and just kind of, well, I don't need to finish it out. Well, let me take this. Let me take the white. I'm going to fade it out just a little bit. So that was the raw umber. Now I'm taking the cinnamon. And I'm going to go in there and add some cinnamon to that raw umber. Let's take some more of the raw umber. I'm going to fill it in the rest of the way with raw umber. And I'm going to throw in some cinnamon in there. But then also I need to make this a little bit darker. So I'm going to come in with my cinnamon and add a little bit of darkness to it. There. And there too. So got a little bit of darker color. So now you can just let that dry until you can go back over it with maybe a white to lighten it up, but I would wait until it dries. So let's finish off the outside part like we did on the last one. So we used our gray tone. It looks like it's starting to turn into more of a kind of like a peachy color, but I'm going to keep up with this. I'm just going to do the gray tone. Like I said, it's not about choosing the colors or the right amount of colors or the right exact colors. Get as close as you can. This is to make something look good or realistic or anything like that. You just got to add in your lights and your darks, get your values going, and that's all you really need. Just like me, I just filled in with a darker gray. Wrong gray. Good job, Trevor. So if you fill in with a darker gray, like I did, don't worry about it. It's okay. Let me clean off my white real quick and we'll lighten that up. Okay. Unless I need it to dry. Which that could happen too. Well, it was supposed to be a little bit darker. I sure did make it that way quick. I'm going to let that dry before I lighten it again or add another tone to it. So now that I went up from here and I've done these two, if you need to go back and start layering in or kind of making this here like where you wanted it to dry, now you can come back in and you can start adding a little bit more layers to it. And don't be afraid to add dots in there too, just to give it a lighter color if you don't want to really want to go too dark with it. This here is the pale pink, and I'm using it to kind of soften it out. I'm going to keep some of those textures going on. There is some sort of grays or some little like waves and stuff like that in there. You can always add like little textures. Probably need to go with the darker gray on that one. Okay, let's go back to the warm gray. Okay. If you need to lighten anything up, remember you can always go to your white. So let's just go over here. Let me get a different white. Let me get the 1.5. Yeah, let's do that. So you also, on these Pitt artist pins, if you get a set of the whites, you can also get not just a brush tip, but you can also get the 1.5 round nib if you want to. Now you can do it with either or. I'm just kind of going with this one because I may be running out of my white on the other one because I use it so much. So let's just go ahead and lighten some of these areas up a little bit more that's already dried with the white. Go around this area. This is the one we made too dark. So there we go. Lighten those areas up a whole lot more. And just adding a couple speckles in there. Okay, and that's what I usually use it for. I don't use it to do a whole lot of blending or anything like that, but I do come back through and add any kind of lines or whites if you needed to. And then also there's a dark in this. Let's go over to my indigo. I also noticed that right in here, I have a little bit of a dark area, so I'm going to kind of put that in. There. Is there any more dark areas? Looks like there is. Let's just take this indigo and stick it in here. And then we'll have to stick more of the dark in there. Not right now, though. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and move on up. I'm going to let this dry before I go over that turquoise. Well, actually, maybe we can go over this again. Just lighten it up. Okay, and then let's lighten this up just a little bit. They get dried enough. I'm going to lighten this area up, but hopefully it dried. If it doesn't, you can always just stop and then just go over it again. All right. Jasmine, thank you for this. I just got them. I totally appreciate the tips. Oh, not a problem. They are a whole lot of fun to work with. They really are. And I really do enjoy them. I mean, I've done quite a few little things. And yeah, at first I was like, okay, I need to learn like if I can blend these. And I just started experimenting. Next thing you know, I mean, you could just do anything. You really, really can. So I am so happy for you. You're going to have a blast with them. Totally going to have a blast. All right, so let's go ahead and move up to our next little seashell. So we're doing kind of like a repeat is what this is doing on around until we can get to some of the other colors. I would just lightly erase your lines. but to where you can still see them. So just erase that one. If you need to, you could always start out by making sure you have a light gray, I guess. Don't go over it with your darker gray, like I did, but it's okay. And just go over it with your light gray here. Okay. And that way you can kind of see what you're working with or what you're dealing with here. Okay, and now we are going to go ahead and take our dark browns, or at least this raw umber. And if you want it darker, you could always go darker. I'd rather go lighter than darker anytime, especially when you're working with these. Try and go lighter, make it darker as you go. If you end up going too dark, you know, use that white to kind of lighten it up a little bit if needed to, but always try and start out a little lighter on that side. Okay, I should have put in my triangle. I didn't put in my triangle. It is right there though. So let's go ahead and put that in. Right there. And then we got these other colors kind of going in. I'm going to make that just a little bit darker. So we're going to use that Caput Mortem because I do like that reddish kind of color in there. Okay. And then right in here, I'm going to put a little bit of the Caput Mortem. And right in this corner, looks like a dark area right there. I'll just stick it in there. Now let's take this cinnamon and we are going to come up from there. I mean, if you want to, you could always, well, my greens are still in there. Yeah, let me add in that turquoise again. This phthalo green. It's lightly in there, but I can still kind of see it. And I like this color kind of added in there. And that's the one thing too, is if you're doing artwork, I mean, it's always nice to make it your own. Kind of changing it up a little bit, making your own. That's what makes it nice. I'm going to use more of this cinnamon. I just have to make sure to lighten some of it. Yeah, I seen, oh, it was a long time ago though. It was right before, I think it was right before, maybe it was right after I got my Pitt artist pins. And I wanted to see if anybody else was out there using them and how they did it. And really, quite honestly, I didn't know if I really found too many people using them. But I did find one. It was like one gentleman who did use him, and oh my God, he gave them such a, maybe it was whenever I was trying to buy them and I was looking to see what other people had said about them before I jump in and purchase them. And he made like something like he tried to use them and it just wasn't working out with this poor guy, and he struggled and struggled. Then he ended up like basically throwing away the paper, said that the pins were horrible, that he couldn't do anything with them. He, you know, couldn't blend, or, you know, he said the lines, you can see all the lines in them, and he had so much trouble. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I was like, oh, well, I really did want them because I seen, you know, I forgot what I seen. I think I can't can't remember how I even ended up with these, to be honest with you. I can't remember if they were in a palatable pack box or if I just saw them and wanted them and read up on them. But I was like, my goodness. Well, come to find out, the poor guy, he ended up not liking them because, and all the blending and all the lines showing up and everything that he had issues with was because he was using the wrong paper. That's the only thing that he was doing, was using the absolute wrong paper. It was like, I don't even think I could even color anything on that type of paper he was using and not have it not show up lines. So, kind of felt bad for him in a way, because I'm like, maybe you should have used the correct paper and then you wouldn't have been so frustrated. But yeah, it definitely wasn't the product at all. And I'm glad, you know, that didn't deter me from thinking, oh, maybe I don't want that product, you know? I went for it and I had a lot of fun with them. I mean, I really have. I mean, sometimes you get some artworks that are, you know, some that you can be a little bit challenging to do and maybe it didn't turn out as well, but it's what makes you learn and to kind of push yourself to go further. It happens. But just keep going with it. So we went ahead and put our cinnamons in. I went ahead and went over it with white, added some darks in there. I know I need to let that dry, but we need to work on that little bitty tip up there. So I'm going to take my cinnamon and we're just going to pop just a little bit of that in there. And then I'm going to take my gray tone. I'm just going to fill that in just a little bit. And take my indigo, not black. I'm going to take indigo. And just kind of make some little dots in there. It doesn't have to be nothing special. Pebbles, you are making a lot of noise back there. She is going ape. I have no clue why. I got her all kinds of goodies to eat, so maybe she's finding them all. She will fill her house until she can't fit in it with food. She stores everything. I was probably exaggerating with that, but it's pretty much close. I'm going to put a little bit of white. Just to make sure I got it. You can go over this again if you need to. Like I said, you can always layer upon layer with these. As long as it's dry. Now, these pins will never, it won't really return to exactly pure white, but it does lighten them or add a highlight to it. All right. Now we're going to go on to the next one. Be good. We'll have a really cute seashell. Man, my contacts are burning. I need to remember to blink. Sometimes I get that way. Let's go ahead and erase this. Take our light, warm gray. Make sure I don't have it mixed up with anything. Yeah. And I'm just going to make our little outline. Okay, so now I know where it's at. If you want to, you could always, pretty much, you could almost go all the way around with this light gray if you wanted to, and get all your lines done with. You could always do that too. I'm trying to do piece by piece so that way we can kind of go down the line here. All right, so now this one's going to be a little bit different. See if we can't do this and come down. There's a little bit of a triangle here, but it's not smudge. I'm going to take my little apricot and just use it to fill in. Kind of blend out a little bit and make it lighter. It just seems a little bit lighter. Right? Okay. This whole area just seems a little bit lighter than the other areas. So now we're going to switch it on over to using more of our apricot here. Go around. And if I need to darken it up, I can. Okay. I'm going to use a little bit of my, I think it's the raw umber, just to kind of put a little bit more of a darker color in here. And also in like here, right in here. Probably doesn't even need to be that dark, but I did do it. I did do it that dark. I'm gonna add a little bit of cinnamon. Kind of get some of these flowy, curvy shapes in here. Okay, and then I'm going to end up taking my white of my brush tip. Kind of soften these down just a little bit. This one definitely needs to be a whole lot lighter. So we may end up having to go over that again because it's getting a little bit too saturated, and definitely don't want to roll up that paper. You don't want to ruin the paper and eat a big hole in it. So definitely need to let that dry, and then I'll have to go back over it again and just kind of lighten it up a little bit more. So let's go ahead and make this little piece like right in here. We can always just take a little bit of that on up. Let's take some more of our apricot, cinnamon, and it sounds like I'm making like some sort of cooking show. That was white, by the way, and our dark blue, our indigo. Make a couple of dots in there. And so we'll just let that one dry until we can go back to it and see that's still, I think that's still kind of damp. All right, so now we're going to take it on over, do our next one. I don't know why I got that pencil there. Uh-oh. Whiskey. I don't know why he barked. Sounded like a playful bark. He might be wanting to play with the cat. They're both the exact same age, and they can literally sound like he's killing the cat, and he's not. She just screams at him, and it's kind of silly. It's like, wow. Okay, so let's go ahead and take this warm gray. We're going to take it on up and do the same thing. Make a little notch. Hey, baby, what you want? Hold on, easy, easy. Baby. Hey. Mommy's working. Mommy's working. You can't do that. Let me get like the pet cam. You want everybody to see you? I don't know. There we go. Sorry about that. Hey, Ethan, I think he needs to go outside, bud. That's probably what that means when he comes and gets me. Well, they usually comes in here and gets me to go outside. Did he go both? Okay, well. My son's like, I just took him outside. I'm like, well, it's either that or he was telling me that he went outside, but usually he comes and gets me. And he's like, I need to go to the bathroom. He's really good about doing it too. If I'm working in here with my artwork, he'll literally jump up on me, just like you saw. He'll jump up on me, and basically he's got to go outside. He's got to go to the bathroom. So I'm like, okay, just give me a moment. Okay, I don't want to put no black spots in this one. I don't think it really has any, to be honest. This has like a white little spot, like it was a little highlight there. Okay, let's go ahead and take our, I'm going to use apricot this time. We got this arch that's kind of through there. Let's use the light gray. I forgot. You need to take that light gray on around. We're going to end up making this a whole lot darker anyway, because remember you got that dark line that goes all the way around. Yeah, it basically goes to there. And then you got that dark line that goes in between there. We're going to use our dark indigo to do that. What time is it? 8:28. We're still doing good. About another 30 minutes to see if I can't get through with this real quick so we can start doing our lines. And pretty much this would be basically done. So, I mean, we're doing good. Hoping to be good on time, because sometimes I get carried away, and I know I do that. But I usually take my time with my artwork. Okay, so let's just go ahead and make it all cinnamon, and I'll lighten it. That little bit corner is going to have like a dark spot, like a shadow in it. And we can always use our dark browns just to kind of put that in there, like right in the center, like right in there. It's a little dark brown. This one have it too? Yeah, I missed it. Right in there. Right in there. Did this have it? Probably. No, didn't have it. We'll just leave it. Okay. Let me take my white brush tip. And we're just gonna go over this just a little bit. Smooth it out. We may end up having to take a darker color. That actually ended up looking a whole lot darker. Go over the top of it with our white just to kind of lighten that up just a little bit. I didn't want it that dark. There we go. That looks better. Wanted it dark, just not that dark. I'm going to clean off my tip to my brush so that way it is clean. And we'll have to go back over this little area here, the white, just to make sure it stands out and you can see it. Okay. Let's do this one here. All right. I'll let that dry, and if we need to go over it again to lighten it up a little bit more, we can always do that. So we'll just keep on going. I like my green, but I don't know. Let me see if I can lighten it up just a little bit. Seems to me like this one here probably still needs to dry just a little bit more. There we go. All right, and so now we gotta go. We can go to the next one. Oops, need to erase. See if I can't work at this a tad bit faster. We need to get to the center. I know it's getting smaller though, so maybe not take as long. Not working as big. Let me go ahead and take this. Looks like we don't really have any little bump on that really. It's kind of gone away. I'm actually going to go through and we are just going to go ahead and outline these. Oh, whiskey. He's trying to push the door in. It's like, Mom, I need to tell you something. Let's go ahead and do another one. I'm not even erasing really any of those lines that are really, really light. Like, if it's a little light, I'm not gonna erase it. But it's only the ones that are like a little bit too dark that might stand out a little bit too much. These are a whole lot lighter. I'm just going to go through and just highlight these. This one here is a little, these are a little bit too dark. Okay. Go on in. That should be light enough. Just make our little spirals here. All right. So I feel a whole lot better that that's done. So now we got our spirals going on. And let's go ahead and take our, we're going to have some lighter colors and some, let's do this. It's just our darker areas here. And then, doop. Okay. Okay, and then now if you wanted to on your reference photo, if you didn't feel like having to draw these all in, you could always like just trace them in if you wanted to, if you're in a hurry. Me, on the other hand, I didn't do it. Okay, this is going to be coming into some darker colors on this side. So a lot of darker colors right in here. So yeah, I want to stop there and I want to go ahead and fill these all in, and then we're going to be doing some changes in these right in here. It's going to get much, much darker. So let's go ahead and just do these, because these are pretty much what we've been doing, minus the turquoise because it's not there anymore. Okay, so let's stick that in. Let me take my white, make sure it's cleaned off. Blend out these little areas. Soften this out. Now, like I said, once you get enough down, you're going to probably have to let it dry and then go back over it again if you're wanting to lighten it up anymore. I'm going to take some of my darker brown here. I think this is my raw umber. I wonder if I can do maybe a, let's see here. Raw umber or the caput mortem? We could do caput. Let's do caput mortem. And I want to add in some little dots in here and just makes a little bit more of a design. It's always nice to be able to do that too. So if you wanted to, just add some dots. And this is something you could probably do afterward, but adding in just a little bit of texture definitely spices it up just a little bit. Yeah, I love adding in dots. Okay, let's keep going. got carried away there. And I'm like, okay, stop with your polka dots. Let's go. Oh, that's white. That's white. Where's my color? I want the apricot color. And we're going to fill this in. So there we go with that. I'm going to take my white. See if we can't just soften this out just a little bit. Soften that out. You can always just wait until it dries and try adding some of this, but I think you're going to have to wait until it dries. Yeah. Sometimes you just have to wait. I'm going to add another tone of white to the outside edge of this gray, making it a little bit brighter. I think those are good. Okay. Now let's go again. Take the apricot and we're just going to fill in. Okay. Now I'm going to take our white. There's still some paper stuck to it. And I'm just going to soften this out. And see, I may be running out of my white. I think it's time for a refill on my white. Which I could always go back in and use even some of the ivory that I've got. That would also be a good one. BNW2 color. Hello. Hey, how are you? Aw, hopefully you're having a good day. It has definitely been a fun day for me today. Especially with all these storms. That's always like, keep me on my toes. It's always something. It's like, feels like every Tuesday. Oh, Stephanie, that's your name? Okay. Well, definitely I'll try and remember that so that way I can call you by your name. You know, there's some people have some names on theirs, like they put down their, I guess, YouTube name, and some of them are really hard to pronounce. Like I struggle all the time with it. And I'm like, I don't even know if I'm saying your name right, so I just go, "Hey," and then I go over to start reading the comment because I'm like, I don't want to butcher their name. It's a hard one. But yeah, awesome. I will remember. So we added our lights. And now I'm going to go ahead and go on to the next one. We're getting closer. Actually, this is where we're going to start entering our dark. Let's see here. It's 8:44. We're doing good on time. Maybe we can get this one. Let's see here. Where was I on this one here? This is the darker one. So it's going to be brighter. So we're still going to have that apricot kind of look coming through here. But then it starts to get a little dicey, like it starts getting a little dark there. That's fine. And then this here is going to be light. So we're just going to do that. We're going to put a little bit of that apricot in there. Then we're going to take our white and we're going to soften this out. That way it's not too much apricot and it's more of a softer tone. Okay. And then we're going to start sticking in some of our browns and a reddish tone. What do we have over like a reddish? Oh, wait, right here, cinnamon. I want cinnamon. There's still a little hint of cinnamon in there. And then we can add the white on top of the cinnamon just to kind of make it not as harsh. And then that's when we want our darker colors in there. So let's go with, we could just go with our browns. Let's go with, here's dark sepia. That's pretty dark. 175. Yeah, that's a nice dark one. We even have a darker one, 177. Which is probably walnut, isn't it? Yeah, walnut brown is like the darkest of the browns. So we could actually go that far, but like I always say, start out a little bit lighter, and if you need to go darker, then go darker. Okay, so we got that in there. I'm going to take some of this, that was dark sepia. Caput mortem's a little bit lighter, but it's got more of that reddish color. I want to put that in there. And then maybe just kind of add a couple little dots. I'm adding a couple little dots on the top. Now you're probably wondering, why are you adding those dots? What I'm going to do is take my white and I'm going to kind of blend this out just a little bit. So I'm going to take this white. I hate the shadow. And we are just going to blend out, just up and down. Kind of blend it out just a little bit. I might need to clean off your white just also. So if you're going to blend it out a little bit more and soften that top, blend out your white or clean out your white and then go on top of just that color and kind of soften it out just a little bit. There we go. So now we soften that out so it kind of goes into it. Now I want to make it a little bit darker. Like we said, take the walnut brown because walnut brown is the darkest brown we have. And if you need to go darker than the walnut brown, then you can, but I wouldn't go straight there. I would just go to walnut brown first. Let that dry and then we'll go on top. There's a little bit of space in between there. I'm going to make a little bit of a white. Use my white in there to make a line, any kind of detail. Let's go over this again with the white. Still a little wet. Okay. Let's go ahead and go on down to our next one, which is going to be the same thing, same way. It's still a darker one. I'm going to start off with my cinnamon. Actually, I need to start off. Yeah, we can start off with cinnamon. What am I doing? I'm bouncing around everywhere. Let's just draw a little curve and then right to there. Okay. We can use walnut brown for this little area. It's really dark. Okay. And then we'll go to our apricot, which is our lightest of them all. And we will put in our apricot. Okay. Now we can put in our browns that we were using before. So we started off with the dark sepia, and we're just doing the same thing. Dark sepia, kind of going up. Oops, just wrote on my hand. And then the kaput mortem to go up just a little bit further. May have went a little bit too much there. We could always add a couple little dots here to just kind of blend them out. So once we do that, let's take our white. And let's just soften this out and kind of blend it. I may have added a little bit more than what the reference photo shows. I'm really having a lot of fun with it. So clean off our white. And I'm just gonna soften this out on top. If it ends up being just a little bit too much, I'm going to take my apricot and I'm going to go on top of it. We can do that with this one. It actually looks really pretty. Looks really pretty. So see how I'm just blending? I'm blending over and over again till I get the right look. This softens it out. It really blends it nicely with this white. It's like a blender. There we go. And then let's go ahead. We may end up going a little bit over. It's kind of a bummer. I really wanted to get done with this like on time. I don't mind going over. I just might end up having to. I'm gonna put a little bit of dark in there. We're almost done. We're almost done. I just don't want to bore anybody out. Let's see here. We got one, we got two. That needs to dry. 1, 2. This is the third one. So it's got a little triangle. That's going to end up being a little darker. And then comes up and then goes like that. That's supposed to be really dark. That was cinnamon. Now I'm going to go after my, maybe we should do apricot next. Apricot. Okay. And then we'll just do the same thing. We're going to go with our dark sepia first. I'm going to add in a little bit of dark in here because it does have a triangle. And then right in here. There's the dark sepia. Then we're going to go up to our kaput mortem. And I am just going to, this time I'm not going to add as much. So I'm just going to take some little dots and just dot it. Just a little bit here and there, just dot it. And that way you don't add too much. Okay, what paper am I using? I am using the Strathmore Bristol Smooth paper. It works really nicely with the Pitt artist pins. Just gotta make sure it dries and not get the paper too saturated. Otherwise it can crumble or peel a little bit. It's not as bad as some of the other papers that I've used, like B marker paper was horrible. And then there was some other ones that I used that was just a nightmare. This one here doesn't do too bad. You just got to make sure to let it dry and then go on top of it again. But it's a really nice paper. There is another one. There's actually a couple of papers that was pretty good with the inks. And I wish I knew the name. I actually have them. I just can't remember. But they are, this one here does really nicely and it doesn't bleed through or anything. And I actually used it a few times already. Okay, I'm just going back over this with my white around the outside edges here. Okay. Now we're going to go in again with this one here, doing the same thing, just a repeat, and actually a little bit smaller. So it's getting a little smaller here. Curve that. I'm going to grab, that was cinnamon. Now I'm going to take my apricot and I'm going to go ahead and fill in for the majority of this part. There's actually a little bit of white in there, so I'm going to leave a little bit of this apricot and or a little bit of an opening there. That'll make it lighter. And I'll show you when you go to blend, you don't have to blend you don't have to blend too much. Or you don't have to use your white as much to try and lighten it up. So once we do this, we just take it and go across and it kind of lightens it. It's almost like smudging it. Just kind of smudges it in there. Okay, now let's take our darkest one of all here, dark sepia. Make a little triangle and just kind of go along the edge. Take some of our darker, could put more of them in here. Maybe a couple little dots. And you could always just leave it if you want to. If you like those little dots, you can kind of put some more in here. And just put some little dots. I like dots. There. We'll just leave some dots in there. Okay, and think they would work on gesso. I have no clue. Yeah, I am not for sure. I don't know. That's a good experiment. Definitely, it would be a good experiment. I'm not for sure if it would absorb too quickly. Maybe the inks, if it absorbs it too quickly. I'm not for sure. What if maybe a watercolor ground? I wonder how that would work. Yeah, I'm not for sure. I never tried that before. I know that I had a mixed media from Fredericks and it was a canvas board, and it said on there that you could use, well, it's a canvas, just like a canvas board, like a regular panel like board, and it said that you could use it with all different types of mediums, including marker and ink. And I'm not for sure if they gessoed that canvas or not. I mean, surely they did. And if so, that could be a possibility. You could, but it's something to try out. That's definitely a good question. I wonder what that Fredericks canvas, if it's actually, yeah, it got me wondering if it's actually, it should be gessoed. Using some of that darks, let's go the apricots. Because I think we're going to end up going over on this. I hope you guys don't mind. If you can't stay along, I totally understand. You can always catch me on the replay if you need to go. I'd really like to get this done. I am definitely having a blast with it. But my son's just like, oh my god, Mom, no. I don't have to watch Whiskey for a little bit longer. It ain't gonna be much longer. I'd really like to get to these, really like to get to the inside part here. And we're getting there. It'll get a little bit simpler because of the amount of detail on the inside is going to be a little bit less. So we're starting to see a change here. So it's like looking like a little bit of a loop, A little bit of a loop, a little bit less, a little bit less. Now we're going to start changing over to a different color. Like more of a brownish, maybe. No, it's more of a gray. Where is my secondary gray? Here, my medium gray. I wonder if that's a medium gray. That looks like, yeah, it is. Okay. Just going to add some swirls in here. And then there's a couple of apricot kind of colors in the center here. And I'll add some cinnamon as a dot in the center. Okay, we're going to try and make this a little bit quicker. I don't want to go with apricot. Let's use some of our cream or our ivory. I'm going to switch on over to ivory. Okay, that's going to be more of that color. So it looks more of a kind of like a really light yellow. Just fine, because we'll end up probably darken this up just a little bit. Let's take some of our, I had the yellow, but let's take some of the pale pink, and we're just going to mix that in with the yellow. Or with the ivory, should I say. And then I'm going to take some of my light gray. Mix that in just a little bit too. So we're kind of mixing up colors here. I don't want it too dark. Okay. And then what we're going to do is take our white and go over it just to kind of blend them together, softening them out. And that'll give us a kind of a tone here, like a different type of tone. Definitely need our blues in there also. Okay, let's try this one. It may still be just a tad bit too wet for this. Yeah. All right, let's throw in our blues. And actually, let's throw in some more of our, I want to make that just a little bit. That's our apricot. White to soften it out. Just a little bit. Okay. And now we need to make our blue in the center and our swirl, and we should be done. So let's go ahead and get our blues in there because I'm really excited about these blues. So it's right here in the center. I'm just going to take this blue and draw a line all the way around. It may end up having to go darker. Okay, and draw it to like right in there. So it probably needs to be thinned out a little bit. And then in here, I'm going to take a little bit of this blue and just kind of merge it in there. Maybe a little bit in there. A little bit in that one. So I'm just going to sticking some of that blue in there. And you're thinking, oh my goodness, that is really, really blue. Remember, we're going to be blending. Okay. I did have a little bit of this turquoise kind of color in here, so I'm going to throw some in. I'm going to throw some beautiful turquoise kind of blue in here. Okay. And then I'm going to take my dark indigo. Let's see here. Gesso tends to make the surface slicker, so it might make blending easier. It could, yeah. I could definitely see that, especially if you sand it down and make it nice and smooth. Yeah, it'd be worth a try. I mean, it'd be kind of cool too. I mean, if you wanted to like do like maybe do it on a canvas piece, like an actual, like to make it easier to hang on the wall too. I could definitely see that. Okay, I'm going to add some of this dark indigo line right in around. I'm going to stop before I get to that point. Okay, I'm going to take my white and see if we can't just kind of soften some of these colors out to make a nice blend. There we go. There's the blend. I want to throw some in here too, just because. Where is my white? I mean, my white little nib. And we're just going to go around this one more time. Around the outside edge of the blue. Take that blue on up. Okay. Gives a light little line kind of going the inside of it too. So we're just going to take it right on around. And then I want to make sure I throw in to where you guys can see some of these lines. I'm just kind of going over these lines again. And that looks like a really pretty seashell. Absolutely love this one. Here, let me lift it up just a little bit. I'm not knocking over everything, so you guys can kind of get a better look at this. So you got lots of lines in there. You got lots of colors, but it really looks pretty. And if you want to add, like you're looking at it and you're like, wow, look at all those colors. Well, if you want to add a little bit of depth to it, we can do that really, really quick, and I'll show you how. Let's take our light gray. Start out always lighter. You never want to start out too dark. And this will be the last of it, because this is pretty much done. We could use our warm gray. It don't matter. Okay, so like your shadow. Well, actually, we need to go a little bit darker than my warm gray, because I've already got it outlined with warm gray. There may be a gap, but it's okay. And so I'm just creating a little bit thicker of a shadow. Giving it that shadow. Oh my gosh. No, we're not done yet. Take the darker one. Little bit darker. This is the one we're really going to kind of stick right up against the seashell here. Okay. All right. And then we can always take our white. Go figure, huh? We're taking the white again. What do you guys think we're going to do with this white? Any ideas? We're going to soften this out. Because I'm really, I mean, I definitely like to soften it. Well, that's if I don't run out of white. Uh-oh. My white's going dry. No. Okay, hold on. We may have to do it the hard way. Yeah. I'm gonna soften out these lines through here on the edges. But yeah, I ran out of white. That's a bummer. I'm gonna have to put that on my wish list. I guess I'm gonna start getting to work and all right, so now we got this nice blend. Yeah. Oh wait, hold on. I didn't read the first thing. Oh yeah, I did read that. Okay. Blend easier. Okay, I gotcha. Without the ing. Hey, I can't even talk right, so I'm good. I understood you completely. So yeah, just by adding in our little shadow, now we just gave dimension to this cute little seashell. And if I didn't run out of white, that would probably help out a whole lot better than me over here trying to make something happen when I couldn't. So yeah, there's our little seashell. We can get up close, kind of look at it. I mean, you just kind of make it your own. Definitely the detail in it is a whole lot of fun. Looks like there's a lot of stuff I need to get off there. All right. So anyways, I guess that's pretty much it. If you guys could, just let me know what you guys are wanting to do maybe for next week on our live. I'm almost thinking to do another watercolor. It went so quick, and I absolutely love those mushrooms that we did. Oh my God, I absolutely love them. They're adorable. So, but if you guys have any other thing, like maybe you want to see something different, we can definitely do that. Just let me know. Just leave it a comment and see what you guys feel like doing or seeing. I'm going to go ahead and sign this. There we go. Signature is done. Oh, well, thank you so much, Stephanie. And I'm so glad you joined. Definitely made it a whole lot funner. I love to see comments and definitely questions. Oh my gosh, it makes my day. So I guess until next time, you guys, I will be doing the Powerful Pack Box. So that is coming up, our first review. And I'm super excited about showing you guys what's in this month's box. So remember to leave a like, subscribe if you haven't, share, comment, leave any of those things. Definitely helps this channel grow. And if you have any comments or questions on these Pitt artist pins, or if you're still struggling on something, please, please, please let me know. Leave a comment. I will definitely get to you and answer your questions and hopefully help you out any way that I possibly can. So until next time, bye you guys.